Hi everyone, thank you for joining us today for our second in our joint accelerated mentoring JAM workshops, which is a joint initiative with Exeter College apprenticeship team and also Cathedral Appointments. And today we're really happy to be joined by Jennifer Corcoran from My Super Connector. So you'll see my face on the screen for the majority of the time, but you will hear Joe and Jennifer talking. If I can point out in the top right hand corner, there's a little question mark sort of speech bubble. So if you have any questions during the course of the session, please feel free to type them in and we'll answer them at the end or at points during the presentation. So by all means, just type them in. If there's anything we can't answer or anything you need after the presentation, we will follow up with you. We also have some little handouts as well, which we'll email to you all, to all of you those who have joined us. When you registered in, we got your email address, so we'll send everything out after the session today. So I shall give you a little bit of an introduction. So my name is Morven. I work as part of the apprenticeship team here at Exeter College. So I look after employer engagement, business development, and also working with schools and our internal students on such things as today LinkedIn profile, employability skills, CV workshops, and things like that. So anything again at the end, if you need anything, by all means, just get in touch with me and I can help you with anything that you need. I'll hand you over to Jo Kane from Cathedral Appointments, who will give you a little bit of an introduction to her and what she does.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Maud. Yes, I'm Jo Kane. I am the owner, managing director of Cathedral Appointments in Exeter. We are an independent recruitment agency. We've been in Exeter for 32 years, and we work with employers across Devon, Cornwall, and Somerset in the main. Anything in the public, private, or not-for-profit sector. And we are well versed at looking at profiles across LinkedIn and also social media. So it'll be interesting to hear from Jennifer a little bit more about her thoughts on that. So anyway, that's me.
I'll hand you over to Jennifer, who will give us a little bit of a rundown of her and her background.
Hi, Morven, Jo. Thanks for having me today. So I'm a LinkedIn trainer and consultant based in Devon, and I help professionals and business owners polish up their profiles and teach them how to connect with finesse. When it comes to professionals, it could be helping them to find a new job or just find more opportunities within their existing job. I think a lot of people lack confidence on LinkedIn and they're not quite sure how to use it. And I believe that, you know, there are different ways to use it for different personality types. So even though I'm chatty, I'm very much an introvert. So my approach today is kind of the introverted approach to LinkedIn, but I will be teaching you about the extroverted approach as well. And yeah, I really look forward to this session. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure, Jennifer. Thank you for joining us, and I'm sure we'll all get lots of valuable nuggets of information from your presentation. LinkedIn, so a little bit of a fact for you. LinkedIn, the professional social networking platform, has actually been around for longer than Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and Instagram. And I think it's becoming more and more relevant than ever before for people who are job search, people who want to network. I don't know if you echo those sentiments, Jo and Jennifer.
Yeah, I most certainly do. So for us as a business, LinkedIn is a massive key for us, not only in finding candidates for jobs, but also as a marketing tool for the organisation as well. And my team individually, their profiles sell our company in turn. So it's a massive part for us.
Yeah, and the same for you, Jennifer.
Yeah, I've been using LinkedIn probably for about 15 years. It's around 17 years. So I used it for years as a professional, and it just really helped me to do my job better. I wasn't necessarily looking for a new job.
Yeah.
And the way I use it as a business owner is pretty much the same, but I love the platform, and it has changed a lot since it first came out. It was quite formal initially and very much just an online CV, but I do think it's morphed over the years, and now it's a great platform for personal branding. And of course, it still is an online CV, but you can really put yourself out there in a great way, build a great community, and you can be yourself. So it's not as formal and stiff as it used to be. I think you can still display your personality, and a lot of people still think it's quite formal. I really love it. So hopefully after this session, more people will just check it out, because I do think it's an amazing platform. I've heard recently somebody said in a webinar they think of it as a deposit kind of savings account for the career. And I think it's true, because you really can showcase your career with it and build up your community throughout your career. So I do think of it as something I make deposits into.
That's a really good analogy, and that also links in neatly, Jennifer, to your sort of presentation, which I'm just going to put up next. So I'll let you just talk us through your presentation, if you don't mind.
Brilliant. It's just a short presentation, short and sweet, just to show you the 3 ways that you can really build a community on LinkedIn and use it, because a lot of LinkedIn trainers will tell you it's all just about the home feed, but it's not. So this is going to take probably 5-6 minutes. So don't worry, folks. That's grand. Next slide's fine.
Yeah, just shout me when you want me to move on. I think it does it itself, but I'll flick it back until you're finished. But just let me know.
Yeah, no, you can go to the next slide. It's fine. So this is just for anyone listening today. That's my LinkedIn URL, so my unique link at the top. If you want to reach out and connect with me, I'd love to connect with you. I have a company page called My Super Connector, where I share events like today, top tips and training. And I also have a LinkedIn group called Networking Tips with My Super Connector. If people want to join that group, it's a safe space, and it's a way for us to continue the conversation after today. And you can ask me questions in the group. And again, I share tips and updates on LinkedIn in there as well. So that's me. So don't be shy, reach out and connect, so I can help you after today. And this is a stat that was taken in the last few weeks. There are now 706 million members on LinkedIn in 200 countries and regions worldwide. It's grown a lot since COVID. I think at the start of March, it was about 650. So you've had like 56 million members just come on in the last few months. In the UK, you've got like 1 out of every 2 professionals is on LinkedIn. And generally in the world, 1 out of every 3 is on LinkedIn. So it's such a super powerful platform. And I think if you're not on it, you are missing out. So I don't know if you want to switch the slide.
There we go. Yep.
So just as I was saying at the start, there are different ways to use LinkedIn. You know, it's not just one size fits all. And I love this quote from Dale Carnegie, which applies to LinkedIn and any kind of networking on social. So you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. So when it comes to LinkedIn, it's all about the P's. So it's about having a good profile. It's about learning to participate, but it's also about the people, and remembering behind every profile is a human being. So, you know, don't be scared, reach out and connect. We're all human beings, and we're all on there to network and help each other. And the way you can do it is by the home feed, through Messenger. So LinkedIn Messenger is very similar to Facebook Messenger, and then also LinkedIn groups, the same way you'd have Facebook groups. So I don't know if you'll switch the next slide, Morven. So I'm just going to chat briefly about the home feed and explain what is it. So if you go to the top menu bar of your LinkedIn profile, you'll see a little like a house icon on the left hand side, and then you click on that, it brings up your home feed. And I like to think of it as like your personal newspaper or magazine feed. And what you see is updates from your network, so people that you're connected to, also your 2nd and 3rd degree network. You can see people pop up that are connected to your 1st degree. You also see updates from companies such as Exeter College, Cathedral Appointments, My Super Connector, any interests that you clicked that you were interested in when you first signed up, or maybe you're following like specific hashtags. You can also see recommended content from LinkedIn itself that it posts up, and you will see sponsored content, which is paid advertising. So you'll see that pop up on your feed. And the different, yeah, sure.
Sorry, is it possible to just ask you a question about hashtags?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, what should people be putting on their posts? What are relevant hashtags, and actually, what does that mean for, you know, who sees these hashtags?
Yeah, it's just another way really to help you show up in a search. the way like on Twitter you'd follow a hashtag, or you've got hashtags on Instagram, they're also a pretty new feature on LinkedIn. And when it comes to doing a post, you only really need to use 3. You know, whereas Instagram you use 30. So I'd say if you to drill it down into 3, it might be 1 to do with geography, so it could be hashtag Exeter or hashtag Devon. 1 could be to do with what you do. So for me, it's like hashtag LinkedIn or hashtag LinkedIn training, or maybe you have one that's, you know, connected to an initiative like hashtag support local. So it's just really another way to be found. So if you put that hashtag in the search bar, you can then see all of the content that's connected. So if you just put in hashtag Exeter, you'll see all the posts that have Exeter in it. Or if you put in, you know, hashtag support local, you'll see all the content. So it's a great way for you to find other people, like minds, reach out, connect with people, engage on their posts. I don't get too hung up on them. I know a lot of people worry too much about hashtags. You can mix it up, you know, but I just think they're just another great way to find people. And you know, it's important. Don't use too many. It can look spammy. I've seen people put 20 hashtags and I'm like, it's not Instagram. So yeah, they're just another way really to show up in search and to find people. It's a nice way. Like I have my own personalized hashtag from my company, just hashtag my super connector. So you could have hashtag Exeter College, hashtag Cathedral appointments. And then when people click on that hashtag, they'll see absolutely everything you've ever posted. So that's really hashtags.
Okay, thank you. That's explained it more for me, actually. I use them. And I know people follow them, but actually that's made it make a lot more sense. So hopefully that will be useful to our attendees.
Yeah, they're just really a way of kind of bringing together a topic. So, you know, even if you were on Twitter and you're following X Factor, you could put in the hashtag X Factor and you'll see all the tweets about it. Or if you're watching a game, you know, Manchester United or Man U, whatever the hashtag is, you put it in and you just scroll. So I like doing it maybe once a week, just looking up hashtags that are interesting to me and seeing what people are saying. It's a good way for research, just to find good content, good ideas and good people. So yeah, it's about finding the right hashtags for you really, and just having fun and exploring.
Thank you.
So the way to kind of grow your community, if you are going to use the home feed, there's various options that you can do, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert. So you can write a post, which is just, you know, a text post. It doesn't even have to have a photo or anything, just a few sentences. You can also write an article, which is a long form blog, which will really establish you as a thought leader. You can create a video, and in general on LinkedIn, short videos work best. And if you do create a video, you can have subtitles on that. You can also create a branded document, so like a PDF with all of your branding. You could create that on something like Canva. They're quite popular at the moment. People seem to like visual content and they'll scroll through. So if you have a post or a blog, you can repurpose it and make it into a branded document, and you might get more eyes on it the second time round. You can also create a poll, which is a new feature which came out I think in May, and they're really useful for research, really asking questions to your network, seeing what the response is, and then you can follow up with people who voted on your poll. You know, for me, for example, as a LinkedIn trainer, I recently asked, what kind of training do you like? Is it a webinar? Is it online? Is it face-to-face? And then I can go back to the people, for example, who said they like online and say, well, look, I've just made this great webinar with Exeter College and Cathedral appointment. Would you like the link? You know, so it's not just getting the results of the poll, you know, 20% voted this, 50, which in itself is great. And you can make a content around that, but you can actually tap into the people who took the time to vote and start a conversation with them, because they've already engaged with you. Even though it took a second for them to click on and vote, they've already kind of said they're up for networking and engaging with you. So I do like those. And a really easy thing to do, if you are an introvert listening to this and you think, I cannot cope with writing a post, an article, creating a video or a document, this is hideous to me, you can comment on existing posts. And I saw somebody talk about this in a webinar again, and they said, you know, why create a new party when you can actually join other parties that are going on? So you'll see all these posts on your feed. And it's a really easy thing to do, is to just like the post and put an insightful comment there and tag the person in that's created the post. And every time you do that, you are leaving a virtual business card. People will see your headshot, they'll see your headline, they'll read your comment. And sometimes the comments are better than the posts. I've seen, you know, original posts not get many likes or traction, but I've seen comments get like 100 or 200 likes. And people have built their network from an insightful, clever comment. You know, even if it's only a sentence long, it can really make you stand out. And I've had 2 guys quote me back word by word in a workshop I did ages ago, back in the old days, face to face. And literally, it was nothing to do with LinkedIn. It was a comment I had made about being resilient in business, and they literally quoted it back to me. Never like discount your comments or think that they're like texts.
Yeah.
Everybody is looking at your comments. So every time I do a comment, I filter like myself for half a second. You know, I am pretty natural, but I always kind of go, right, how do I want to come across here? Because people do look at them. And if you engage in someone's post or article or video, that person is going to like you because you've taken the time to engage with them. They've put it out there. Maybe they're thinking, oh no, I'm not going to get any likes on this or any traction. So you have stood out to them. And if it is a recruiter or a company that you want to get in with, they have seen your face and your name. So you can even reach out to them after and they will remember you from that comment. So it's actually a great thing to do before you even reach out to people. Sometimes go on their home feed or go on their business page and comment, because by the time you get in touch, you can say, oh, I really enjoyed your recent post on XYZ, and they will remember you. So you've already started that know, like, trust factor. So that's the main thing I do, is I call it sprinkling the LinkedIn love. Just go on, a few comments, a few likes goes a long way, and it's an easy way to network. Whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, it's a great way to show up. And the last thing you can do is you can share valuable content from others. Now, I would have said in the old days, like a year or 2 ago, to share a post directly, but now the algorithm doesn't really like that. So what I did actually earlier on, Joanne shared a post about this. I went into the top right hand corner of her post and there were 3 little dots. I clicked on that, a drop down appeared, and I copied the link to Joanne's post, and then I started a new post. And that gets more eyeballs. I don't know why LinkedIn have changed it. So it's a shame that they've done it, because you'd be rewarded because you're sharing, but you actually get less eyeballs if you share it. So it's better to copy the link and start again. And again, this is a way of establishing yourself as a thought leader, even if it's not your topic, your blog, your article. If you have an insightful line at the top saying, check this out, I really learned XYZ, then people will look at it. I find a lot of people share posts and they don't put anything on, and it's like, you know, why should I look at this, you know? So even a sentence at the top will establish you as a thought leader in your field. And the easy thing, you haven't even had to create the content. All again, simple sentence that will make you stand out as an expert. So they're the 2 things I probably like the best: commenting on existing posts and sharing from others, just with a line, you know.
So Jennifer, if somebody was looking for a job, and there was an employer that they really wanted to work for, so if they were to follow that company and that company's putting news out, that's where they should be commenting on that.
Oh, definitely. I think it would give you the advantage. And then when you bring up any company page, you can see all of the employees who work there. I would literally look up the HR director, you know, whatever director you think you need to get in touch, and I would just reach out and try and connect with them as well. But I think if you have engaged with the page, or you have, for example, you find the HR director there and you take the time to look at their personal profile, to click on their activity, to comment on a recent post they've made, it will really make you stand out, as opposed to just pinging off a connection request. I would always personalize, and if you can put in anything that shows that you've actually read something or you're some way interested in the company, you're going to massively stand out.
Great. Okay, thank you.
Marvin, do you want to go to the next slide? Oh, yes, we're on. Sorry, we're on. It's good. So the next way we can connect on LinkedIn is LinkedIn Messenger. So they're those emails in the back end. They are completely private. Nobody else can see them on the home feed. Only the sender and the recipient can read them. I've had people ask me in the past, you know, can other people see this? So you don't need to be paranoid. These are completely private, like emails. And there are 4 types of LinkedIn messages, just to break it down. The first is a direct message, which is organic on the free platform, so everybody can use these. You can also, if you're a company, you can create a sponsored message. I don't get many of these. You might get the odd one suddenly appear in your inbox as part of an advertising campaign. You can also get an in-mail. So there are 3 versions of LinkedIn. You've got the free version, you've got premium, and then you've got Sales Navigator. So if you upgrade to premium, you're allowed to send 15 in-mail a month. And these in-mail, basically you can send a message to someone you're not connected with and it just lands in their inbox. I'm personally not a massive fan of in-mail because I just think I'd rather personalize a request and reach out for free. I always feel like I'm slightly hijacked when an email in, and sometimes they don't have really anything insightful to say. You know, it's just literally hi, and you're like, okay, what is this about? So I'm all about the free version of LinkedIn and kind of milking your organic reach. I don't really think you need to upgrade to premium unless you're fully targeted on a job search. You're going to do lots more searches and you're going to look back at all the people who have been looking at your profile. I think you can get a lot of traction with the free version. But if you want to take it to the next level, it's worth upgrading for a month and getting access to LinkedIn Learning as well. You get all those courses for free. But in general, I don't really advocate it. I just think you need to learn how to use the free version first, rather than spend whatever £500, £600 a month on premium. Because just because you have a premium account, it doesn't mean you're going to get more traction if your profile's not optimized, if you're not connecting with people. It's not really going to give you any bonus points with the algorithm, or it's not going to attract more recruiters to you. So yeah, I just want people to know premium's there. It is good to check it out for a month, but in general, I'm not massively a fan. And another message you can get if you have premium, you can tick an option that says you have open profile messages, so you can get messages from anyone. And I did try out premium for a few months. LinkedIn gifted it to me and I ticked this feature, and when I ticked that feature I got a lot of spam. I got a lot of like, hey gorgeous, how are you? So I'm not massively a fan of that open profile messages either. I find the free version works for me. So the main ways you can grow your community with Messenger, with the messages, is either a one-to-one message or a group message. And there are different types of messages you can send. The most common one that people think of is a written message. When it comes to the app on your phone, a lot of people don't realize you can send an audio message, so a voice note similar to WhatsApp or Facebook Messenger, and you can record for up to 60 seconds and then it's capped. And you can, of course, you can send 2 or 3 if you want to send a longer message. That's absolutely fine. And you can also send a video message within the app, and that's capped at 2 minutes long. And I really think, you know, first, you can only really send a written message the first time when you're connecting with someone. But if you want to stand out, depending on what industry you're going into, I really think sending an audio voice note or a video message would give you, you know, it would just make you stand out over all the other competitors, because a lot of people don't send them. And I know all of the people that sent me a video message, and granted most of them are LinkedIn trainers, but they're in my head because hardly anyone sends them. Audio are becoming more popular, but they are great because people get to hear your voice, and I think you can move people onto the phone a lot quicker. So if you're, you know, talking to a HR director or a recruiter, I think if you leave a message like that and when they respond, you will be able to book in a phone call or a Zoom much quicker than the written messages.
Jennifer, how are there any stats around how many people listen to their video messages or view their video messages?
I haven't got any stats, but I can look into it for now. All I can say is from my personal viewpoint is I've never ignored an audio or video. I usually respond to them pretty quick because they feel like a voicemail or a human being, whereas written messages, you can read them sometimes, but there's never that urgency, and you might get back to them, you might forget, and maybe you get back to them the next day. But and likewise, when I've sent a video message and an audio message, people come back usually that same day. And when it comes to both of them, most people are excited because they're like, wow, I didn't know you could do this. So that's the first conversation we have. And then I teach them how to do it so you can teach them as well. And that's actually a great way to start the relationship, because you're helping them learn a new trick. So that's usually the start of the conversation. And when you are, I will quickly teach you now, when you are on the app and you are doing an audio message, you have to go into your message first, and you will see a little mic icon on the right hand side when you've brought up someone's profile. And what you do is similar to WhatsApp, you just put your thumb, you could put a finger, but I find thumb best, on it the whole time while you're recording, and hold it quite close to your mouth. When you're finished, just lift off the thumb, and it will give you the option to either delete the message or send. So it's handy if you've gone and made a bit of a blooper and you want to do it again.
Yeah, I was going to ask, can you have a few takes of it? So
yeah, and the same with the video. With the audio, when you get to 55 seconds, it does a little time down. It goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you know, right, I have to wrap it up now quick. And then with the video, again, just when you're finished it, when the 2 minutes caps, there is the option in the corner at the top to either delete or send. So it's handy. With the videos, they automatically, it's similar to WhatsApp, they save to your phone as well. So you might send a video message and then you're like looking at your text later on and you find it. But they are super powerful.
Yeah, this would be absolutely great for any person looking for a job.
Yeah.
To make that quick impact with a hiring manager. Just by sending them that message, rather than trying to send a CV somewhere, but just hi, can I have a quick 5-minute call with you first? Really keen on the opportunity that you've got. This is come back to me.
Yeah, definitely, because it will massively make you stand out. And for me, like when it comes to finding a job on LinkedIn, I'm a bit hacky. I don't tell people to click on the job section. I tell them to look up, do a filtered search and look in content as well. So like for example, you want a job as a personal assistant and you want it in Exeter. I'd say put in personal assistant Exeter into the search bar. Go down to the drop menu, click on content. You can then filter it to like the last 24 hours or the last week. And then you can see all the posts about personal assistant Exeter in your feed. And usually it's recruiters. And if you're lucky, you see someone in the last 24 hours, you see Joe post, and I've got this job. And maybe 2 people have commented or liked it, or nobody's commented. You have the option to then do a comment, message Joe, connect directly, as opposed to, apply for a job in the job section. 9,000 people have applied for that job, whereas you're going in that kind of hacky way to meet the recruiter. And of course you can do the search and you can find the recruiters, but I do think it's super powerful if you find their posts, because you can see, hi Joe, I've seen your post, you've posted in the last 24 hours, that job's perfect for me, can we chat? So that's what I always tell people in relation to, finding a job. Just learn how to use search and use content, because most people don't search by content, they only search for people. I've gone slightly off topic there.
No, it's not, because if somebody is looking for a specific job, they may not have known to do that. So actually I think that's really good advice for somebody that's looking for an opportunity.
And even business owners, it's a great way to just see what's going on. When I'm nosy, I put in Exeter Dev and I see all the content in the last day, and it's a way to just network and engage, and just stay in the loop or do research. I think a lot of people don't look at all the menus. They just think of people, but they don't look up companies, they don't look up groups. So nice segue onto the next slide. A lot of people think LinkedIn groups are dead, and I get it, because they used to be great a few years ago, very active, and then they kind of died down, and now Facebook groups are super active. But I still think there are amazing people in groups. So when I approach a group, I'm all about the people, not so much about the home feed. I go into a group, I look at the people and I connect with them. So I always join groups related to my network, such as, Exeter Chamber of Commerce, anything I belong to, and then I have a look and I reach out to connect with the members. So I just think if you're looking for a new job, or you're looking to connect with people locally or build your network, it's always worthwhile doing a search for a few groups. If you are a student, potentially there's an alumni group for you to join and tap into your network, and you can help each other and, you know, collaborate and introduce each other. I think they're great if you're in a specific niche. You can join groups related to your industry. You can join groups related to your geography, again, association or industry, and you can join up to 100 groups. I'm not telling everyone go off and join 100 groups because you'll get overwhelmed. I think if you join even 5 good groups and just try out maybe 1 group a month or 2 and see how you get on, you could be lucky, you could hit the sweet spot in 1 group and it's all going on in there, and that's how you're going to build your network. As I said in the slide, always check out the members in the groups. They're a great way to build your network. And similar to the home feed, you know, see what people are posting, engage with them, have conversations. They're a safe space. You might want to ask a question in a group. You might feel a bit shyer on the home feed. So, you know, groups are a great way like that to just build your network, do research, ask questions. And they're also a way that you can show off your expertise around a certain subject. So I'm a fan of groups, and in a way I love that other people don't love groups, because I think it gives you the advantage if you learn how to use groups. Yeah. So, you know, and you can always create your own group as well, and they're very easy to maintain. You can have a private group or a public group, and they're a way for you to show off that you're a thought leader in a certain subject. So they're a lot easier to manage than a Facebook group. So I do think, yeah, they're a great way to network and meet people, and I personally use a combination of all 3. So the home feed, Messenger, groups. If I had to pick one, it's Messenger all the way with me. I used it for years as an employee. I just had a good profile and I used Messenger, built up my network, you know, connected with my colleagues, my peers, suppliers, trainers, anyone who could help me do my job better. So if I had to pick one, it's all, for me, it's about Messenger. And then, like as Joe was saying, have that conversation and get it off LinkedIn. So at the end of the day, LinkedIn is a tool. You know, we don't have to be on LinkedIn all day. I love it, but I love the fact that it's a tool and it allows me to have conversations and take it off LinkedIn and have a Zoom or an email. So you don't want to spend all your day posting, you know, have chats with people and get them off LinkedIn. So yeah, that's what I use, groups and the home feed. It's a vehicle to have conversations with people. That's always my ultimate goal on LinkedIn. It's not for me to sell them LinkedIn training. It's to have a chat with people. If they're interested or say, I'd like to have a call with you, whatever, that's my goal. And I think as a young person looking for a job, your goal is to have a chat with a recruiter or a company and see where that chat leads you. So like as Joe said, asking somebody for 5 or 10 minutes of their time, you know, most people are kind, are going to have the time, they're going to say that's absolutely fine. So, and I'm a big believer, if you don't ask, you don't get. Yeah. You know, you could have a super profile, but with any social networking, it's inbound and outbound. You have to network as well. You can't expect everyone to come to you. It's like going to a face-to-face networking event and just standing there with a paper bag in your head and not, you know, you have to go out and chat to people as well. So you have to use search. You have to figure out, why am I on LinkedIn? Who do I want to connect with? Use search, find those people. Don't be passive, you know, and just find the best approach for you. We're all different, you know. You might not want to do posts ever on the home feed, but you might find a nice rhythm in a group or in Messenger. So that's me, guys. Thank you very much.
Jennifer, we're not going to let you disappear. I feel like I've got a couple of questions.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a couple of things come through on the actual live feed as well. In terms of setting up your profile, there's now a new function, isn't there?
Oh yeah, the open for work function.
Yeah, that's quite key for any job seeker. Could you just sort of talk our attendees through how you actually set that up?
Yeah, it's a funny little feature. It's only really picked up in the last few months. The way I actually got it on my profile was by clicking on someone else's profile who had it. So I would just say to everyone, I've got it on my profile now. Click through on mine, and when you click through it at the very end, it will give you the option to add it to your profile. And it allows you to select what you are open for work for. So what kind of roles you can feature, like 5 roles, and you can make that function. It's basically like a circle that comes around your head and has a hashtag open for work, and you can make it available that you like showing to all recruiters or to all your network. So if you don't want everyone to know you are open for work, you just tick that for recruiters only. It's fairly new, so I'm not really sure how effective it is, but I do think it's a good way of making you stand out and making your services stand out. So I would definitely say check it out. And I prefer to do that rather than you see a lot of people typing in their headline, open for work, made redundant. And I always think it's such a waste, because I would keep your headline for what you actually specialize in, because people are never going to search on LinkedIn for redundant, open to work. They're always going to type in, you know, personal assistant, project manager. You're kind of doing yourself a disservice if you put in looking for work or redundant in your headline. So I do like this new feature in that it saves you space on your headline, because I think a lot of people do that. And I don't know what you think of it as a recruiter, whether it works for you, Joe, when you see that in the headline.
Yeah, I mean, it's still fairly early. What I will say, you mentioned the different levels of LinkedIn membership, so the free, the premium, and the sales navigator.
Yeah.
The majority of recruiters will use a different version again, which is LinkedIn Recruiter.
Oh.
And so am I jumping forward a little bit?
No, this is great. I'm finished. I'm fascinated. I don't know in recruitment.
Are you okay if I jump ahead a little bit?
Yeah, that's fine. Like, we can flick through the sort of slides. We can just kind of have it a bit more sort of open if you like. I'll flick through the slides, and then you can kind of sort of talk around them as well, if that works too.
So just to say that our business, we have various licenses which enables a recruiter to access an awful lot more people outside of our network. So we pay a premium for that. And what it does, we can either post a job and search for specific skills, or we can go into LinkedIn Recruiter and we can ask LinkedIn to come up with candidates that match what we're looking for. So to give you an example of this, I have an opportunity that's coming in. It's a graduate opportunity, and I am going to be looking for graduates with a degree in textiles or fashion. So I will use that to identify a number of candidates that wouldn't necessarily apply for a job, and I will directly go and approach them. If those candidates, so I also get to hear whether they're open for work, open for opportunities, and generally those candidates are at the top of my search. So I know I am going to a list of people that are actually actively looking for work. So they will come up above, so that the importance of getting your profile right it is imperative. You need to be making sure that you are shown as open to work or open for opportunities. Come up the top of the list, and a recruiter such as myself will directly message you. And we don't have a limit on how many people we can message. We can message thousands if we want. We don't, but we could. And it directly drops into the inbox of anyone that's got the relevant profile on LinkedIn. It's just a really good way of a quick version. It's almost like a headhunt, but without an actual headhunt. You can also go to companies. So sorry, I'm going off on my recruiter vein. Just to comment on a couple of things that Jennifer has said about following companies, actually making some form of contact with hiring managers. I really think that's very important to do. But you also need to be reaching out to recruiters in the area as well, and those that have got a specialism that you're hoping to actually go into the field of work in. So be an accountancy specialist. If you use LinkedIn to find the relevant companies, follow them, look at who the key players are there, message those people. I'm loving the thought of putting in the videos. I knew there was voice. I didn't know they'd moved it to video, so that's a learning for me. that's something I'll use in the business to actually message people. You might get one.
I'll send you one later.
Yeah, we'll have a play, but I'd encourage all of the attendees of this to actually have a go at that. And if you want to send the three of us a message, it would be really good to hear from you.
Definitely.
And the other thing is your profile. I do read a profile that somebody has set up, and I think it's very important that it is kept fairly professional. And I know that Jennifer has mentioned it's a lot more informal than perhaps it used to be, and I do agree with that. But I think if you are actively looking for an opportunity or looking to engage with an employer, you really do need to think about how your profile looks, and not keeping it to the point, but showing a bit of your personality and getting those key sort of words in the job words that you're actually looking for. And it's also not just LinkedIn. If you can think about your wider social media, am I jumping the
I'm just, because you're kind of talking in the right order of the slides. I'm just kind of flicking. I'm just kind of flicking them on as you're talking, so that people can kind of read them as you're speaking. So it's kind of fitting in really well, Jo, as if you'd practiced.
Yeah. No, I haven't. I think you really do need to think about if you're using Facebook, if you're using Instagram, if you're using Twitter, or whatever platform that might be. If you are actively looking for a job, you may find that there are people looking at what you're doing. So just really make sure that you're not putting too many pictures of you drunk on every single occasion, which I would be guilty of. Just keeping it as professional as possible, and also on those other social media platforms to follow other organisations. If you Exeter College in particular, the apprenticeship team, your Twitter account is great, your social media accounts are great. Follow those organisations, see what they're doing, see what they're up to. And again, recruiters will be continually posting jobs. You just need to be looking. You need to be looking in areas that perhaps you wouldn't necessarily have thought of looking before.
Yeah.
What is your advice on that, Morgan?
Yeah, that's exactly. I feel exactly the same. Just to kind of broaden your horizons as much as you can. Keep your profile up to date. Make sure that it's not too wordy and that you've just covered everything, and fit it in with all your other forms of social media, like you've sort of said.
I'll just touch on the jobs on LinkedIn. You will see when somebody has posted a job, the amount of applications that have come through to that job. At the moment, the level of applications are exceptionally high, but please don't let that put you off for actually applying for those jobs. What happens with LinkedIn is that the vacancies are picked up globally. Jennifer gave the slide at the start with how many members there are on LinkedIn. There are an awful lot of applications from people outside of the UK that may not be eligible to apply for that job, but it actually takes the numbers up. So do not think for one moment that you can't apply for a job that's advertised there. You are better off applying for it than not. And looking for relevant jobs, searching in the content. I've not used the hashtag before, Jennifer, so that's a really good learning point for me. I tend to just use the search bar, so I've learned something today, which is great. But there are a number of the vacancies on LinkedIn do tend to change quite regularly. A word of advice: if you see a job reposted that you think you saw quite some time ago, it may not be posted again by that employer. I'm not quite sure what companies pick up these jobs, but they tend to post them out again. Do you know anything about that, Jennifer? Or?
Not really, to be honest. Only since lockdown. Before lockdown, I helped mainly small business owners, but since COVID, I've started to help more professionals with their job search. So I'm learning. So the fact that you're teaching us about the way you use like the LinkedIn Recruiter and what you're looking and what you see is brilliant, because I'm learning as well.
Yeah, yeah. We spend a lot of our time on LinkedIn, and I if I'm looking at a candidate, I do look at their profile, I do look at what they've done before, I do look at the groups they follow. So it's really important to get the right ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, on your follow list. So
a lot of people aren't aware, or they're not mindful of their privacy and settings. And like you're saying, it's across all social media. So be mindful when, even if you're on Facebook, if you're posting something, whether you're posting to your friends or publicly.
Yeah.
Because like Joe said, you could have an amazing LinkedIn profile and then you've got a dodgy post on Facebook.
Yeah.
Tagging off your employer. Yeah. I didn't go in today, I'm hungover. You know, be mindful. You might want to go back and delete off posts, do a bit of a tidy up of your profile, especially if you're young and you're across all the socials and you haven't really been mindful. I would say do a good tidy up, and the way you tailor your CV to a job, if you are focused on something in particular, tailor your LinkedIn profile to that. Like Joe was saying, make it professional and just make sure you've got all those keywords. So look at job specs and see what they're saying and put those keywords throughout your profile. But yeah, definitely have a tidy up of across all your social, and be mindful of your privacy and settings, because so many people don't investigate the back end and they think, oh, this is only my friends that can see it, but it's the whole world.
And people will be looking.
Yeah, they do.
Employers will be thinking, gosh, this looks like an amazing candidate. Wonder what they do outside of work.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah, so just keep it tidy,
keep it professional. Yeah,
but it is another, all of these platforms, all of these social media, they are another tool to help you with your job search. And you do need to take the time to actually make sure that you're getting it right and that it works for you. So
I think we're kind of onto the sort of, we've kind of gone through the slides as we've been sort of speaking, so we've kind of covered a lot of them, and obviously continuing on, like you say, using it for sort of networking purposes. I know, Jennifer, you mentioned you were kind of networking before this presentation today, and as you've kind of talked about, building up sort of respect and building that relationship with connections, businesses in your field, and even sort of role models, people that you've kind of looked up to, you can comment on their posts as well, and that kind of gets you just in the view of people who are in that kind of industry, really, isn't it? It's just kind of being part of something, part of a group, part of that sector that you might be interested in getting involved in.
And the scope is massive. You don't you can reach out to people that maybe in real life you mightn't have been able to ever talk to by email, but you can actually contact them on LinkedIn. And I think if you're a young apprentice or a young student reaching out, you can really impress people, with a nice personalized message, give you the edge. And I just say, don't, play it big. LinkedIn's not just about your first degree connections. It's about their network and their network. So even when you're doing searches, I always do a search first and see if somebody in my immediate first degree network can help. If they can't, I highlight second, and then it brings up, sometimes you can jump from like 100 to 10,000 by just tapping into second degree network, and I can see, wow, Morvin or Joe knows Mark, and I want to talk to Mark at whatever, Amazon, about whatever. And you ask people for introductions, and I think if you are asking for introductions, I would always give a reason as to why, whether it's, oh, I want to chat to them about potentially working for them or whatever. And I think most people will do that introduction for you, and it's super powerful. It's another way for somebody to just look at you and your profile and get on the phone much quicker.
Definitely. And I think as well, even as you were speaking about people you might not have imagined ever contacting, quite often it's quite nice for those people if you're kind of asking for a bit of advice as well, isn't it? Or how did you get started? I'm looking to get into this industry, or I'd like to pursue a career as such and such. Have you any tips? And I think people are quite open and responsive and sort of flattered by that, aren't they?
Definitely, yeah.
So again, we've kind of talked a little bit about this. So this is kind of onto each individual's kind of profiles as we sort of kind of recapping. Take time to make it good, choose a great picture, make sure that your headline is good. As Jennifer mentioned, when you pop up as having liked or commented, people see your headshot and your headline. Yeah. Sprinkle the keywords, sprinkle the sort of LinkedIn magic, and don't waste the space. Just try and get the best in there, the key things that you're looking for in a career. Would you agree, guys?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And the lucky thing about the headline is you were previously limited. Up to a month or so ago, you could only have 120 characters. Now you can have 220 characters. So you can really put in those keywords. I mean, one of the keywords could be your geography. You know, if you are based in Devon and you're only looking for a Devon-based role, you can put in Devon-based, whatever, personal assistant, specializing in project management for the finance industry. I think if you can put as many of those keywords in, people will look at you and go, yeah, that's the person, as opposed to just putting in personal assistant and there are on LinkedIn. So I say you take advantage. It's a lot more than just your job title. It's your job title and who do you help and how can you help them? How can you add value? So it's a bit like a statement, really.
And again, just kind of following on some of the things we've talked about, sort of be warm and welcoming, try not to use too many buzzwords, treat your summary a bit like a CV. So as we've said, kind of getting all the key points out there, show your achievements and sort of be excited, be excited to talk to people, be excited to be in that industry, to be in the group, and add your personality to it, as Jennifer has sort of mentioned already.
Definitely, and have your contact details. I see so many people who appear excited and then I try and connect with them and they haven't put in an email.
Yeah.
And then they're not even that active on LinkedIn. Yeah. So put in like a call to action, an email or a phone number, so that if somebody lands on your profile, like a recruiter, they can actually get in touch with you quickly.
You can upload your CV to LinkedIn as well.
Yeah.
That there's nothing more frustrating than finding a really good candidate and you can't pick up the phone to them because they haven't put their phone number on. Yeah. So if you're not putting it on your profile anywhere, make sure it's on that CV.
That CV as well. Yeah. And so next steps. What we've kind of talked about, again, please feel free to link in with either myself, Joe or Jennifer and put into practice some of the things that we've sort of talked about today. Keep in touch and kind of make a start on your profile. I'm sure I know I would. Joe and Jennifer would be happy to help alongside that. And I've popped Jennifer's LinkedIn address down there as well, just to really see how it's done.
Yeah, sure.
To follow what you do and see how to do it properly.
Thanks.
Is there anything else either of you wanted to kind of add in, or?
I've got a LinkedIn profile success checklist that people can get if they go to my website. They can download it. What I'll do is I'll email it to you as well if you are sending out resources. Yeah. So it's several pages and it walks you through like your headline, your photo, just the basics. So I think that would be a good kind of checklist. That's what it is.
Yeah.
For people to have, to go through and fill that out as much as they can.
Yeah. That'd be great. Anything else you wanted to add, Joe?
No, just that, if there's anything I can help anybody with in terms of setting up their profile, then more than happy to connect with me, send me a message and I'll do whatever I can to help.
Okay, have you, can you, is there any questions or anything coming through on any of the
there were a
couple,
but actually we've answered them as we've gone through.
Oh, fantastic. So,
there's not anything new, but if anybody's got anything they want to ask now,
then they can by all means feel free to kind of add in the questions, or again link in with us, put it into practice, link in with us and ask us any questions afterwards.
Exactly, sure. And like I'm happy if people message me one-to-one if they want to test out the audio feature or the video feature. I'm happy to do a few little tests with people. If they want to join my group as well, they can ask questions in there. So whatever they feel comfortable with.
Brilliant. Okay, well, there's nothing coming through at the moment, so we'll just kind of finish up. I think that we've kind of lasted it for the hour as well, so it's gone really quickly. So thank you again so much, Jennifer, for joining us today. Lovely to see you again, Jo, for the second of these workshops. And we will be having another one same time next week. So thank you all for joining. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.